But let me lead off with bringing Brad in.
Well, hi, welcome. These are the top 20 mistakes I see business owners make. I'm Brad Sugars. I'm the chairman and founder of Action Coach. And for 30 years, I've been coaching business owners. And these are the mistakes we see you making out there in the marketplace. So how many of these are you making? Which basically means how many areas can you do amazingly better in once I teach you how to fix them? So top 20 mistakes, how to fix them. Number one mistake business owners make: competing on price. Trying to discount, trying to price their way into a new job. Business is about profit, not about sales. Business is about actual having a bottom line. Competing on price. If you live by price, you will die by price. How do we beat that then? Well, what you've got to be is in some way, shape, or form unique. You got to create a differentiation. You got to be different to your competitors in some way, shape, or form. Some businesses do that by having a guarantee. Some businesses do that by having a step-by-step process. Some do that by branding. Okay, there's many ways to be unique out there in the marketplace. Some do that by their location. Some do that by having weird-looking cars out on the road type thing. Some do it by their uniforms. Whatever it is you do, you've got to be different to the competitors if you want to charge a better price. You cannot compete on price and survive very long in business, especially if you've got a growing business. You need the profit to be able to fund the growth of the business. Mistake number two: lack of planning. I know how much business owners love planning. See, at Action Coach, one of the things we do is we get our business owners together every 90 days and plan for the next 90 days. Actually, a day in a room teaching everyone what to do, how to do it, and plan for the next 90 days. But the lack of planning, it leads to a very much a putting out fires approach to their business. They're very reactive, not proactive. And so they're not building the business, they're running the business. Well, in fact, lack of planning, that means it's not you running the business is running you, I guess, in many ways is possibly what we do. So how do we solve that? Well, we don't start by doing massive plans. What we start with is daily planning. Actually, at the end of the day, every single day, making a plan for the next day. You and anyone on your team doing that, okay? Start there. Get good at daily before you worry about getting good at weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual, and 5-year plans type thing. Daily planning, most important one. Third biggest mistake I see business owners make. Number three, doing everything themselves. This statement kills me from business owners. Well, Brad, no one can do it as good as me. You know what, Brad? I'm going to do it myself because I'm going to save a wage. Listen, saving a wage costs you a fortune. Saving wages costs you a fortune. If you, as the owner of the business, are doing employees' work, in other words, do the work once, get paid once work, not even management work, which is do the work once, get paid long term, or owner's work, do the work once, get paid forever, you've got to get back to understanding. Trying to do it all yourself is actually killing the business. I keep seeing these things about hustle and grind, and I always say, I think hustle and grind is the new stupid. Because what it does, and I did this, I got to be honest, I did this in the beginning. I worked 6 days a week, 16-hour days. I wore it as a badge of honor, like that I slept in my office. I had to sleep here. I'm working that hard. And then I realized, hang on a sec, that's not the goal. The goal is to build a business that works so I don't have to build a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without me. Trying to do it all myself was definitely not the way to do it. Get professionals to do their job. You wouldn't try and build a house all yourself. You get a plumber to do the plumbing, an electrician to do the electrics. You know what I mean? Don't do that in business. Marketers do marketing. Salespeople do sales. That's how it is. Mistake number 4 is what we're up to. Number 4 is not enough marketing. Yeah, I know most people say, Brad, I can't afford marketing. If you learn to do marketing right, marketing is the buying of lifetime customers, the profitable buying of lifetime customers. In fact, read this one of my latest books, Raise Your Hand Marketing. See, if you want a growth business, it's about really 2 things: get them and keep them. Get them coming back. Okay, get customers, get clients, and get them to buy more often from you. Okay, when you learn that that's what business is, marketing becomes a major function of the owner of the business. Like, as the owner, you need to be more of a rainmaker, okay? Bring in the business and keep the business coming back. Number 5 biggest mistake, working too much. I touched on it a moment ago, but if you're the owner of the business and you want to have great ideas, working 12, 16-hour days is not the solution, okay? Now, I know in the beginning, it feels like you have to do that, okay? And some of you are probably watching this going, Brad, but you don't understand my business. Absolutely, I do understand your business. We've coached more than 280,000 business owners. And every single time I sit with them, I put them into our initial 12-week program where we get them started with us here at Action Coach. And I let them know that one of your goals is to find 4 hours a week to work on your business, not in your business, right? That's your goal by the end of the 12 weeks. Usually by weeks 5, 6, or 7, they've all found the extra 4 weeks. Why? Because we get rid of the dumb stuff that's being done, okay? We get rid of some of the mistakes that's causing too much work and all of those sorts of things. But I want you to know that our goal here at Action Coach is to help you work less and make more. And I know that seems crazy. How can I make more if I'm working less? Because the business should make money. The business should work, not you. That brings me to mistake number 6, no clear goals. You want to achieve more, you need more written documented goals. You don't want to achieve more, don't have written documented goals. The more written documented goals you have, the more you achieve. No more complex than that. Granular goals, bring it down, but also having a vision for what do you want from your business. You know, when I sit with a business owner, I ask them a question that usually blows them away. They're like, what do you mean? Because I ask them, when do you want to finish your business, right? When do you want to finish the business? And they're like, what do you mean finish? So when do you want the business to run without you? For you to not be needed and it still makes good profit and it's still growing type thing. Now, most of them, they sit with it and like they just can't answer me in the beginning because they've never thought of it that way. You know, building a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you takes somewhere between 3 and 10 years, depending upon how far into the process you are already. But chat with the coach and that sent you this video and ask them about it. Or if you're just finding this yourself, jump on actioncoach.com and take a look at it. Mistake number 7. And this one sort of touches back into marketing, but it's all areas. It's called not measuring and not testing. You can only manage what you measure, and especially from a marketing perspective, a sales perspective, a performance perspective, productivity, you can only manage what you measure. Lack of measurement kills most businesses. Testing, lack of testing is you just dive straight into the deep end rather than doing it. You know, I was chatting with someone the other day about their marketing, and I said, listen, 80% of marketing fails, okay? Like if I got 10 ads and I go to Google and I put all 10 ads up, 8 out of 10 of them will fail. 2 out of the 10 will get a result. The question is, am I testing enough to know which ones are the good ones? And am I watching the numbers, measuring to know which ones I should scale and which ones I should kill off? If we don't do testing, we waste a lot of money in our marketing and a lot of money growing our business. Number 8, not asking for feedback. No, it goes back to the doing it all yourself thing. Well, I must have all the answers. No, ask for feedback. Ask your customers for feedback. Always be asking customers for feedback. If they tell you something's wrong, great, you get to fix it. Ask your team, your staff for feedback. If they tell you stuff is wrong, great, you get to remove excuses. You get to fix things. You get to grow. You get to build the business. Ask your coach for feedback, your suppliers for feedback. Get more people and ask them how you can do better. Always ask every person you meet in business, how can I do better today? What could I have done that would be better for you? How could we have done this better? The better you get, the better the profitability gets. Number 9, relying on people, not systems. What do I mean by that? Well, let me give you an example. If you get on an airplane today, right, and the pilot's getting in the cockpit, do you think the pilot follows a checklist? What's the answer? Yes. What percentage of the time would you like that pilot to follow the checklist? Like 100, right? Because you want them to succeed 100% of the time. If my team are not following a checklist, a system, then the business goes like this. It's like great performance, bad performance. It's inconsistent. If If you follow a checklist, there's consistency of performance. Number 10. Number 10 biggest business owner mistake is no real strategy for growth. Okay, and what do I mean by that? If you look at strategy, and that's in this book over here called Pulling Profits Out of a Hat. If you look at strategy of a business, it really comes down to 4 things. What is the leverage point? And leverage means do the work once, get paid forever. Like, how do you get a customer that stays forever type thing? That's part of your strategy. Scalability. Scalability's definition is the next sale costs less and is easier, meaning as you grow, your business should get easier, not harder type thing, okay? And if that's not there, then the strategy is incorrect. 2 other points of strategy are marketability and opportunity. Marketability is how easy does the product sell itself, and opportunity is how big is the market that you go into. And so looking at that strategy side is really important aspect of having a growth-oriented business. So again, read the book or chat with your coach. Number 11, not planning the customer experience. Okay, remember back in the day, there was customer service departments, and basically that was a complaints area, right? Well, in this day and age, we see it as proactively planning the customer experience, the customer journey. And how do we make sure our customers have a great journey so that they come and they stay, they become lifers? How do you create a lifetime customer is by planning their experience and giving them an experience that means they want to stay, they want to tell the world about you, they want to send referrals, they want to post it on social media every time they come do business with you type thing. That's what we're aiming to do. Plan that customer experience so that they grow from being a prospect or a suspect right through to being a raving fan of your organization. Number 12, too many ongoing costs, especially in the human side of the business. One of the earliest killers of a small business is leases, renting stuff. You know, I would rather go and buy 10 secondhand desks that I can pay cash for than take a lease out on office equipment. Okay? But when it comes to humans in the organization, I see too much lopsided. There's not enough salespeople to pay for all of the operations people. If your business is operations heavy, it's going to be low in profitability. If your business is sales heavy, more salespeople, more marketing people generating, generally there'll be great profitability in the organization. Most companies we come in and coach, we want them to add at least 20 to 40% more salespeople. In many cases, it's 100, 200% because they don't have any salespeople type thing. Even if it's a phone salesperson, an email salesperson, a social media salesperson. Yes, social media salesperson, all they do is sit on social media and connect to make conversations with people and lead them to sales, okay? So building that is very, very important. Number 13, biggest business owner mistake. Having one massive customer, or you can also say that as one massive lead source. I remember working with a company one time and they got a massive contract and they were in the car manufacturing business, and they got one big car manufacturer that came to them and said, we would like you to make these for us. We need this many per year. And it meant they had to drop basically every other customer to be able to do business with this one massive company. And they came to me for advice, and I sat down with them and went through all the pros and cons and all of that sort of stuff. And in the end, they rejected the contract at the price point it was at. And they said, if you can do it at this price point with this much capital investment, we'll do it. But we can't afford to do it the way you're doing it. Because here's what would have happened. 95% of their business would have been one customer. All the capital they needed to invest to build the business to do that, that one customer leaves, their business is dead. Now, ultimately, they did do the deal because they talked that massive car company into investing the capital to be able to get them to do the deal and keep their other business running at the same time. But think about it this way. If you've got one massive customer or only one method of lead generation, like if all of your customers come because you have billboards type thing, or if all of your customers come because of just your website, you've got to have more methodologies of getting it. So don't put all your eggs in one basket with one customer or one marketing strategy. You need multiple of both, okay? Number 14 is they ignore the competition, or they just ignore the market in general. They don't look at, is there inflation, not inflation? Is money more expensive, less expensive? They don't look at their competitors and do mystery shops or even a SWOT analysis or even check your competitor's website. One of the greatest leaders in business, a gentleman by the name of Alan Mulally, he was voted CEO of the Year twice, once for the turnaround of Boeing aircraft and the second for the turnaround of Ford Motor Car Company. And one of the things he did when he got to Ford is he stopped everyone driving Fords, and I think they owned Range Rover and Jaguar at the time, and he stopped everyone driving that, and he went and bought one of every car of every other car company and said, this is what you will drive. Each week I want you to drive a different one so that you learn about what they're doing and that. Know your competition, know them real well, learn from them, grow from them. That's how you beat them. Number 15 mistake. This one's a killer, and I know it's a killer because I did it when I was young, is we hire badly. We pay peanuts and we get monkeys. Or we hire our next door neighbor's kid, or we hire our cousin who's out of work, or, oh my God, I made all those mistakes. Today, when I go to recruit people, I use that word, by the way. I use recruit. I don't go out and hire people. It's not about a help wanted ad. It's not about that. It's about recruiting the best of the best. Kind of like sporting teams are recruiters. They go looking for the best of the best and they recruit them to come play for their team type thing. It's how do I find that best of the best mentality? Again, chat with your coach if you want more details on that. But ultimately, what I'm looking for today is someone who's overqualified. Because if the business is growing in a few months or a few years, they're going to be qualified. I want overqualified people who can help me grow it, not underqualified people who I have to teach to get it there sort of thing. People who are better than me at that job is what I need to recruit. I just need to know enough to ask them the right questions. Like if I'm hiring a marketing manager, I need to know enough about marketing to ask them good questions. I don't need to know what they're going to do, but I need to know enough to hire a great one. Number 16, not knowing our numbers. Possibly one of the biggest mistakes business owners make is wait until the end of the year to know their numbers. That's crazy. You got to know not just your numbers of lead generation and conversion rates, but you got to know your costs and your percentages of wages and all of those things. You got to know those numbers. And if that means you got to read a couple of books or come do some training with us here. But a big thing that I teach business owners is to have a separate bank account for profits. And like, what do you mean a separate bank account for profits? Well, let's imagine 20% of your business should be profit. Like, that it should be about 20%. Great. Have 20% of your customers build into that account and just leave the money in there. That's the profit. This is where you operate it from. That's the profit account. The profit goes in there. It stays in there. We also, as companies get bigger, suggest, a tax bank account and so on and so forth. But it's knowing your numbers and managing your numbers. Number 17 mistake business owners make, not investing. And when I say investing in systems, investing in technology, investing in their people. If you're not training your people, how can they do a better job? You got to train your people. If you want your salespeople to get a better conversion rate, do you need to train them? Yes. If you want your managers to be better managers, you got to train them. You want your leaders, you want your customer service people. Training is a massive part of the success of businesses out there. Investing in your people, not investing in a website, not investing in buying customers, their marketing, not investing in Action Coach. There you go. There's another one. But you've got to be an investor if you're a business owner. You got to think that way. I need to build for the future. Number 18, low or no online savvy, no real online presence. The website. Oh my God, how important is a website today? And I still see companies trying to do it cheap. Oh yeah, I got my next door neighbor's kid. He did my website for $5,000. Please, the technology needed to get great websites today. The platforms needed to get great websites today. The content needed to build great websites today. We got to invest in it. Learn it first, obviously. The number one investment you can make as a business owner is your own knowledge, becoming a great business owner. Learn more so you can earn more, very simply put. But when you think about how you do marketing from a how do I get my prospects to say, hey, I'm interested? What can I offer them? Maybe it's a video similar to this. Maybe it's a webinar. Maybe it's an ebook. Maybe it's a meeting. Whatever it is, but start making offers to the market where they can raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in what it is that you sell, or I'm interested at some stage in buying what you do. And that's massively important. And always remember to do the permanent marketing over the instant marketing. Throwing a picture up on Instagram is great, but having a phenomenal blog article on your website that lasts forever and brings customers forever is far more important than a nice photo on your Instagram page. Permanent, more important than instant. Number 19. If I look at this mistake that business owners make, it's possibly one of the biggest killers, okay? And that is not getting professional advice. You would never go into business and think, oh, you know what? I can just do my tax returns myself in business. No, you get a professional. You get an accountant to help you. You get a lawyer to help you if you got a legal problem. Well, if you got a growth problem, should you go and get a good coach? Yes. You've got to get professional help if you want to grow your business. You don't have to learn everything, but you have to know who to ask, okay? And that's a really important one. And finally, number 20 biggest mistake business owners make. Letting their business run their life and take them away from their family and their health. Losing their health and their family because of their business. Oh no, I'm doing this just for my family. Listen, I get it. Providing for your family is a really important thing to do. But if you let your business kill off your family, I was chatting with a business owner a couple of months back, and he said, Brad, I got to do all these things. I said, great. How do you have your kids become involved in that so they're there with you? If you've got to go to work after hours, then how can you get the family involved? What can you do that will bring you closer together because of the business, not push you apart because of the business? Ultimately, being in business should give you a better life. Being a business owner should not run you. You should be able to run it. You should be able to build something that works so you don't have to. You should be able to build something that provides for your time freedom as well as your financial freedom. But it's going to take some learning. It's going to take some growing to. I'm not sure how many of these mistakes you see in your business, whether it's 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever the number is. If it's all 20 of them, doesn't matter. What matters is that you're starting to learn and starting to grow. And the more you learn and the more you grow as a business owner, the easier the whole thing gets. So keep learning, become a great business owner. Unfortunately, in the start of business for me, I thought it was about being great at the job of the business. And then ultimately I recognized my job is to build a business, not to be the business. So connect with an action coach, jump on our website, subscribe to my videos, keep learning, keep growing, keep coming back, and we'll keep helping you grow your business. Bye for now.
All right, good stuff. All right, so quick, just do a quick scan of your notes. Just, I don't know, I'm gonna give you like 15, 20 seconds. Quick scan of your notes and look at like what, and try to, and look through, important to scan them all just to revisit your learnings real quick. But what was the top takeaway? Identify the top takeaway as you're scanning through, but don't stop once you get the first one. Just keep, you know, scanning to remember. Lock it in. All right, Jeremy, you know what's up. You in my leadoff box, man. What was your what was the number one thing? What was your top takeaway that you got out of that?
Oh, can I really just one, Reggie?
I just need one.
Yeah, you bet. Leveraging customers is going to be the biggest one. Turning one lead into three. Customer acquisition cost is something that I've really been focusing on, and so using that, my ability is to take that one lead that I paid for and get three of them out of it.
How do you see yourself doing that?
I do that by getting feedback from my customers, getting the ability to get that information to their neighbors, to people they know, anybody that they can can direct me to without me spending money on an ad to get to that individual.
Right. So by referrals, and by the way, getting them to leave that, like that review that you sent me
Yep.
earlier today, that was just killer. I mean, that was the most one of the most amazing reviews I've ever
Why I sent it
met.
to you. Yes,
Right, right,
sir.
right. But like that reviews are one way you turn one customer. And by the way, that's permanent marketing. That's an example of it being there forever. So be thinking about how you can acquire one customer and turn them into forever customers. That's good. Um, um, Jennifer, first Jennifer, you're up. Tootsie Wootsie.
Um, Something that kind of hit home with me is the number 20, letting their business run their lives. So that's
Uh-huh.
something that I struggle with too, kind of balancing family life and work life. So
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting.
That's right. Work it through one step at a time and just look at what are the lower level activities that I can begin. It's a constant, consistent journey, but look at everything you do and go, all right, how can I, what can I get rid of, from the bottom and work your way up. By the way, if you do a quick, I wish I had something I could draw with. I could draw this out, but think about things in relation to fun and skill. And identify, if you wrote all the things that you did, and go, what are the low skill things and what are the low fun things that I do? And so that's really the first place to get rid of all the low skill things. Try to get rid of those, and maybe even with the higher skill things, when can I, how can I outsource that? But if finances are an issue or budget's an issue to outsource those things, then go, what's the low skill, low fun things I can offload? That should be able to free you up one step at a time. So, Judy, you're up, and Jay, you're next. Judy, go.
Well, I would have to say number 20 was it's actually what he said right after number 20.
Uh-huh.
Build your business, don't be your business. I mean, I think that is like critical with me because I am my business and I've got to learn how to make sure I build it and let somebody else be my business.
All right, cool, good. Shannon, you're on deck. Jay, go. Oh, you got to mute. Jay, unmute and go.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, good deal. I would say doing everything myself because I'm a highly skilled profession and it's hard to delegate the things I need. I can delegate 80% of it, but there's that 20% that I have to do and whatever. So that's the problem I'm trying to solve is how to delegate a highly skilled trade. Not asking for feedback from my customers, relying on people, not systems.
That's good.
Those are the biggest ones, yeah.
All right, cool. Good stuff. Marina, you're on deck. Shannon, go. What was your top takeaway?
He said it a couple times, the concept, I guess, of doing it once and getting paid forever.
Uh-huh.
That idea, he just kind of said it in a couple different ones, but I mean,
Yeah.
that probably it was like, I like that concept and I would like to learn more about that.
Have you given any thought to what are some areas in your business that you can, do it once and get paid forever?
I don't know. I don't really know what that means. It just sounded very appealing. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great.
Okay,
Let's do that. But
good idea. One for instance, by the way. And by the way, they can be small things. It doesn't have to be huge and massive. It can be you write a checklist and a system for your team members or employees. You do it one time, you get paid forever. You identify, what's a video that you can put on your website that sells people exponentially more than what a text would. Like text on the website or a picture would, transferring a picture to a video. Picture creates an image. Video is like you being a salesperson. That's like, all the magic that happens when you talk directly to a prospect.
Yeah.
And you convert them, right?
Yeah.
For most people's websites, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Okay.
Because they're relying on text and words.
Yeah.
Or text and words. Text and words, the same thing. Text and pictures, right? So anything that you can do to do it one time and get, and get paid forever. So there's all kinds of things like that that exist in your business that you could do at once and that it lasts in perpetuity. Writing down like I said, a standard operating procedure list, so that you never, if you find yourself repeating yourself or repeating activities,
Okay.
those are good opportunities, especially if you're repeating yourself,
Hmm.
like, having to cover the same thing. You're like, hey, by the way, record on your phone and give it to that person you're talking to and say, hey, type that up and write a checklist for me. So that would be an example of do something once and get paid forever on it. And then it can get bigger. Then you can start working on the bit. Once you clean up the small stuff, you can free yourself up to work on the big stuff. Let's see here. Brian, you are on deck. Marina, go.
So my first takeaway was that since I've done the management class and other things with you before, a lot of these mistakes I've been able to resolve in the past. So that was a
Good.
good relief for me that I did not recognize myself too much anymore making these same mistakes. But the big one remains for me what he said last, number 20, or what he said afterwards, that my job is to build the business, not to be the business, because I work too much. And I'm gonna remember what he said when he this I wrote it down. This quote: "Hustle and grind is the new stupid," because I don't like I don't like to the word stupid. So I'm gonna remember that and try to do better on that.
That's a good reinforcement, right? That's a good, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. The awesome. That's good. By the way, she's referring to the 12-week management masterclass that she went through. So that's one of the things we do. Bookkeeper and accountant Jennifer, you're on deck. Brian, go.
For me, it was not asking for feedback. We do have a pretty good, setup for if a customer, leaves us or cancels for whatever reason, then we have a good questionnaire for them to ask them why. And luckily, we don't have a lot of them leave, but not very good at keeping up with them just as ongoing customers, especially as we acquire more technicians that, yeah, I need to start making sure getting the feedback is there.
Yeah, that's right. Feedback from everybody, knowing what's going on. And, yeah, that's really critical. Asking good questions to get good feedback. Keep your ear to the ground. Ashley, go.
I think the thing for me right now would be the relying on people, not systems. I've just
Mhm.
changed my software and like created a new system so that I can create, or I bought a new software and invested in a new system so I can create a process and then hire someone so that I'm not doing everything.
Mhm.
But I need to create my checklist. So it was nice to hear all of this.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Good. Thanks everybody. The 2 points I wanted to make that I thought might be helpful as well. The ignoring the market. This is something I had a coaching session on. Don't just ignore it for about competition. Know your competition, know what's going on. That's important. Another element of this, especially, it's funny that so many, when we teach these principles in our operating system, they often get siloed to the context in which they're being taught. For instance, if, we teach in marketing and it's taught in the context of bringing on new customers, it kind of gets siloed and you end up with blinders about, thinking about it just for customer acquisition. But as you are hiring employees, hiring great employees is a marketing game. It's about marketing. Here's the good news. It's a way for those of you that are going through the challenge that exists in the marketplace, for number one challenge that exists in growing businesses or businesses that are no longer growing. It's because I can't find good people. I can't find good people. Well, the reality is you're maybe right. You can't. Well, the negative connotation of that's when we hear nobody wants to work, can't find people to work. Well, guess what? Some people have found somebody to work. So there's somebody that wants to work. They just don't work for you. So there may be less people. It's not as easy as it used to be. So what do you have to do? You have to be really, really good at marketing. You have to take market share of employees. One way to do that is really get really, really good at marketing for employees. This is not hard because most job ads are job descriptions and not marketing pieces. So you can get a real strategic advantage on. And by the way, I'm teaching one of the master classes later on how to recruit and train and how to take market share from other folks. So that's part of the curriculum in this 7 weeks. But but what I would say is that it's real easy because you got a bunch of HR people. And by the way, HR people generally aren't marketing people. So you can take market share from the HR people, and definitely most business owners are just bad at marketing for people. So you can take market share by writing a great job ad, a job advertisement. Sell some sizzle. What's in it for them? What are the benefits? Not that hard. Like to be able to attract good, to be able to pull market share from from let's say job boards or those kind of things. So in that so that's the kind of difference between looking at things, good content in different contexts. But one of the things we're going to cross today is I have one of the businesses I work for. It's a growing business, growing quick. She's hired me on. I don't know, maybe it's been about 9 months ago, and there's been a lot of change. It's a medical business, and business has grown. She employs doctors. Couple of doctors. She's a doctor, employs a couple of doctors, and the business is growing. It's a self-pay, no insurance kind of thing. So, and she's in the growing stage. The employees are watching the business growing, and here's what happens when you have employees that are watching the business grow. They're like, "Well, you're not." I'm working harder than I've ever worked before, and I'm not getting paid anymore. Honestly, she was overpaying them when they weren't that busy. So, but now they see the business growing and profitable, and her being tighter about financials and those kind of things. And now they're trying to grab for money. Now and they're kind of laying guilt trips and being manipulative. And this person I'm talking about is very soft-hearted and very kind and, bit sensitive and to people's feelings. I guess an empath would be a good word. So, this is bothering her. It's really messing with her because her employees are manipulating her and tell her that she's not being treated fairly. Well, I'm like, I don't think, and I started asking questions, and I said, look, go out and do some market research and compare what you're paying them to what the marketplace is paying. So she starts to ask around a little bit, and what she finds out is she is paying them 20% more, 20 to 25% more than what the marketplace is paying. Now she's able to stand on the confidence of, look, I know you're beating me up for more money. Oh, one of the things that triggered all this is she had to change a bonus program, tweak it, that she was a little too aggressive to start with. And anyway, they're coming back at her. And it's got her all, in her feelings about, her employees really, accused her of bait and switch and just being, just said some things that were somewhat hurtful. And now she has the confidence to go, look, we had to make some changes, but please keep in mind, you're paid a premium. And now she has the confidence in that versus not taking the internal manipulation that's happening around them feeling like they're not being treated fairly. So what that comes from is good market research and knowing what you offer. By the way, you want to keep good people, pay them 15 to 20% more than what the competitors do. That's one way to get good people. If you don't have the money for that, then you got a money problem. Then we could talk. There's another session about how you make more money in your business. That's coming up as well. So anyway, that's helpful. And permanent marketing is versus instant marketing. By the way, man, number one thing that I'm often finding people putting in, it makes a huge difference, is videos on a website. There are not enough videos on your website, I am certain. Look for key areas. Your website is your number one salesperson. People are looking, people are creeping. right? As we have re-engineered, so many of you got an email from us for the first time in years about an event in a blast format. It's been crazy as I've sent these email blasts out. I've not directed people to my website. You have to work to get to my website from that email. Like you have to search. Guess what? My email traffic is spiked because people get that newsletter and I just want you to sign up for the event and that's it. But but the creeping on my website, it went from it's just a huge spike. And went down because people are like, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on?" And so and so we that got me in the hurry to clean some things up and make sure my website properly represents what we're offering right now. So anyway, those some tips. Hope those things have been helpful. The two things, and we'll send you on your way. I do have a special gift. All right, so if you've watched this and gone, man, you've maybe gotten a dose of maybe I don't know what I don't know, and maybe I need to sharpen up my level of knowledge and education when it comes to growing and taking my business to the next level, and that would help. We're not just to bring up the mistakes you make, but also to provide solutions and knowledge and education. So one of our solutions, what you were seeing was just a small piece of the Action Coach business operating system that has helped hundreds of thousands of businesses around the world and hundreds of businesses locally that I've worked with over the last 20 years. So we have a way to be able to offer and deliver that to the local business owners like you in an unbelievable way. So, and that is via our program that we have called 30X. And 30X is Brad teaching his 30 years of business growth. I'm going to go one page back so you don't sneak ahead. 30 years of his, experiences and teaching and implementing the Action Coach operating system. So his 30 years of business growing experience broke it into 30 different lessons that you can get in bite-sized chunks of 30 minutes apiece. I liken it to getting an NBA, an express MBA in or a master's certificate in growing a business. By the way, it's that business growth course that you wish you would have took before you started in business, but it wasn't available to you. So this is something that is available just to cover the topics it covers. Wealth creation, business mastery, building a business that can compete on price, lead generation, sales systems, customer care, profit margins, creating systems, growing a team, thinking bigger. 30 bite-sized chunks delivered by video on your own time in 30 minutes a day. But I do position it as a challenge so that you do have some support and accountability along the way. So the way the challenge works is 30X in 30 days. We also do a group Zoom support session because you need support because the biggest reaction people have as they're getting this fire hose of information over 30 days is overwhelmed because there's just ooh, I need to do that. Ooh, I need to do that. Ooh, I need to do that. So there's tons of that. So to be able to help sort that out and remove some of the constraints that keep you from implementation, then that's having a support call once a week is part of it. And then upon completion, all kinds of cool stuff that happens. You're able to apply to be part of some of our ongoing paid programs. But here's the good news. Most people, when they see us talking about 30X and giving away a master's degree level education in business growth and ownership, they think, uh-oh, what's this going to cost? And the good news is one of the things that I'm committed to do is help as many business owners possible. And so I don't make a financial investment and get in the way. Your only investment's your 30-day commitment to do the work. A few more details on what's required there, but no financial investment is required. I've had a few of you go through 30X in the past. Some of you are 30X alumni. Real quick, short snippets. Those of you who've been through 30X and got your completion of 30X, how's that been helpful to you and your business?
There we go.
Jeremy, go quick.
Game changer. It just changed every bit of how I thought about how I operated my business. Number one was that when do you want to finish your business? Never even thought about that. And it just completely changed the way I looked at and how I operate and what I do.
So as a result,
As a result, I have completely changed how my business is formatted, how I operate with an end goal, and to build a business that runs on its own. And has, so I've been working towards that ever since. It was sort of the springboard to that.
yeah. Anybody else been through 30X? Have anything else to add?
I agree with Jeremy. That it was for me. It was definitely laid out a roadmap that I still follow. What 3 or 4 or 5 years now? I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it took a long-term plan, put it in to a plan, but also broke it down to a day-to-day, plan to follow, which took a lot of stress out of the last few years, knowing that all right, if I follow this day-to-day plan, 10 years we're going to be pretty.
Cool. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And you're working at your pace. You can use this information to get there in 2 years, 3 years. And for Brian, it's a 10-year plan. So, but still got plenty of work to do, I'm sure. So anyway, for those of you that want or have interest in that, so if you have interest in going through the 30X challenge, I'm going to start one in the next couple of weeks. So if you'd like an invitation to attend that 30X challenge, no financial investment required, just type in the chat. I'm in for 30X, or just type 30X in the chat. And then I'll be in contact. I've got your contact information. Love to have you join us and be part of the next cohort that we do. Other than that, the next business improvement series next week is top 20 leadership mistakes. So we'll be covering the area of leadership. Hiring great employees is coming up after that. Top 20 mistakes salespeople make. We'll sharpen your sales skills, give you some sales nuggets, marketing mistakes, talk about marketing there, doubling sales and profits. We'll talk about our 5 ways increasing cash flow and sales and profit process, and we'll talk about some common best practices on strategy, and then the top 20 team building mistakes. So that's what's coming up. Sign up for any or all of them. Please, sharing is caring. Let your business owner, sales people, people in leadership positions, whatever applies, more the merrier. Have them come on to future sessions. And we just want to offer, again, tons of value. Keep one of the best kept building business secrets in the area. I'm on a mission for that not to be a secret anymore. And
Reggie,
yes.
can you send us an email with all the dates of
Yep.
all of those top 20 things?
Yep. You have that. Where you signed up, but I'm sorry, you're going to I'll do that for sure, but it won't be a secret, but we'll go ahead and we'll make sure an email goes out to everybody with all the future dates. Right, Raj? My man. All right, good. I'm good. I'm done. I'm gonna stop.